Imagine money as water. When you lend someone water from your well, you expect them to return not just the same bucket, but a little extra. Because while they were using it, you couldn't. The extra water is called interest. Interest is simply the price of using someone else's money. If you borrow, you pay interest. If you save, you earn interest. It is the rent paid for time. And time is the key character in this entire story. At its core, interest depends on three things: how much money you start with, how fast it grows, and how long you leave it alone. The starting money is called the principal. The speed of growth is the interest rate. And time determines how powerful the effect becomes. Interest is not magic. It is math combined with patience. There are two main ways interest grows: simple interest and compound interest. Simple interest is like planting a tree that gives you the same number of fruits every year. If you invest $1,000 at 5% simple interest, you earn $50 each year. After 10 years, you have earned $500. The tree never grows bigger. It just keeps producing the same amount of fruit. Simple interest is calculated only on the original principal, which is why its growth is linear and predictable. Compound interest, however, is very different. It's like planting a tree whose fruits fall into the soil and grow new trees. The next year, you don't just have one tree giving fruit, you have many. And each year, more trees appear. That is why compound interest grows exponentially. Instead of earning interest only on your original money, you earn interest on your interest. This interest on interest effect dramatically outperforms simple interest over long periods. To see this clearly, imagine investing $1,000 at 5% compound interest for 10 years. Instead of ending with $1,500 like simple interest, you end about $1,628. The difference becomes much larger over 20 or 30 years. The longer time works, the more powerful compound growth becomes. Time is not just part of the formula, it is the multiplier of everything. Albert Einstein is often quoted as calling compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. The math supports the idea. The curve of compound growth starts slowly but eventually rises sharply upward, like a snowball rolling down a mountain. But interest does not grow at the same speed in all situations. How often it compounds matters. Interest can compound yearly, quarterly, monthly, daily, or even continuously. The more frequently it compounds, the more powerful it becomes. The effective annual rate reflects the true growth after accounting for compounding frequency. A loan advertised at 12% annually may actually cost more if it compounds monthly instead of yearly. Two loans with the same rate may not truly cost the same. Now let's switch perspectives. So far, we've talked about earning interest, but what happens when you borrow? If compound interest is a tree growing in your garden when you invest, it becomes a fire spreading in a dry forest when you borrow unwisely. Credit card debt is one of the clearest examples. Many credit cards compound interest daily. That means if you carry a balance, interest keeps adding on top of interest very quickly. Studies show many people underestimate the power of compounding when it works against them. Because the early growth looks small, it doesn't feel dangerous until it accelerates. This brings us to another important idea: present value and future value. Imagine you were offered $1,000 today or $1,000 5 years from now. Which is better? Most people intuitively prefer today. Money today can grow with interest. If you earn 5% annually, $1,000 today becomes about $1,276 in 5 years. So $1,000 today is more valuable than $1,000 later. This concept is called the time value of money. Research confirms that humans naturally discount the future, but we often miscalculate how powerful growth over time truly is. There is also an invisible enemy in the interest story: inflation. Inflation quietly reduces purchasing power. If your savings earn 4% interest, but inflation is 3%, your real gain is only about 1%. It is like filling a bucket with water while a small hole at the bottom slowly leaks. Interest also shapes the entire economy. Central banks use interest rates as a steering wheel. When rates are low, borrowing becomes cheaper. Businesses invest more, people buy houses and cars, and economic activity increases. When inflation rises too fast, central banks raise interest rates to slow things down. Interest rates influence employment, spending, investment, and overall economic stability. It is the heartbeat of modern economies. Psychologically, interest teaches us something deeper about human behavior. People struggle to understand exponential growth. We are good at thinking in straight lines, but poor at thinking in curves. That is why debt can surprise us and long-term investing can feel boring at first. The early years of compound growth look small. The later years do the heavy lifting. Imagine two friends. One starts investing $200 per month at age 25 and stops at 35. Other starts at 35 and invests the same amount until 60. Even though the second friend invests more total money, the first friend often ends up with more. Simply because of time. Time is the oxygen of compound interest. Interest is neutral. It is not good or bad. It is simply a force. Like gravity. If you understand it, you can build bridges with it. If you ignore it, you can fall because of it. So how should we think about interest in everyday life? Think of it as planting seeds. When you invest, you are planting money seeds. The earlier you plant, the larger your force becomes. When you borrow, you are borrowing seeds that will grow, and you must harvest more than you planted to repay them. The formula behind interest may look technical, but the principle is simple. Growth multiplied by time creates acceleration. Small percentages become powerful over long durations. A 5% difference might look tiny today, but over 30 years it can mean thousands of dollars. And this leads to one final metaphor. Interest is like a relationship with time. If you treat time as your partner, investing early, being patient, letting growth accumulate, interest becomes your ally. If you fight time, delaying saving, carrying high interest debt, ignoring compounding, interest becomes your opponent. In the end, understanding interest is not about memorizing formulas. It is about respecting exponential growth. It is about recognizing that money has a cost when borrowed and a reward when saved. It is about seeing that today's small decisions quietly multiply into tomorrow's large outcomes. Interest is the story of time made visible. And once you truly understand how it works, you begin to see that the most powerful investment you can ever make is not just money. It is starting early and giving time the chance to work for you. Thanks for watching.